Yo, what's going on, man? This is G. Tony Starks, live from the Lower East Side, man. So I'm making this video. Well, I'm gonna make a lot of videos, and I'm gonna show you how the Lower East Side used to be, man. You know what I mean? Because I see these, different type of YouTubers. We're trying to talk about the Lower East Side. I'm gonna give you the real history of the Lower East Side, man. As far as I can remember, a lot of events that I'm gonna talk about, it was more than 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? There's some names I can't put out there just because I didn't get their permission. For the most part, y'all will understand the story. You know what I mean? Some of the places I'm gonna be talking about, today, this day and age, all types of different people walk through here freely and stuff like that. But the times that I'm gonna be talking about, there was none of that. Nobody couldn't walk through here if you wasn't known or you ain't know somebody. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna start off with Forsyth Park. I'm in Forsyth Park right now, as you can see, located on the Lower East Side on Forsyth. This park right here was roofless back in the days. Talking about like mid 80s to the 90s and early 90s. It didn't look like this. Yeah, I'm gonna show y'all more. So this park was full of that. This all they used to sell here was crack. You had people from Brooklyn, Harlem, trying to sell crack here, and it was always like a war thing, a turf thing going on in here. A lot of killings, a lot of stabbings, a lot of cuttings, shootings, everything. So a little better look of the park. You know what I mean? They even got a soccer field now. But this never used to look like this. It was like you had to go down. It had steps, like you had to go down and stuff like that. And I think, yo, what's up? Yeah, you know what I mean? And a lot of people from the Lower East Side used to do their thing here and hustle here, as well as like Brooklyn dudes, Harlem dudes, you know what I'm saying? They heard about all the money that was in this park, and they used to try to come and do their thing. And there used to be an all-out war in here. Also, there was a lot of hookers here. This is known for like prostituting, like a lot of hookers. My mom used to hang out on this park back in the days when I was about like 5, 6, 7 years old. She should sit down on the benches with my aunts and just have a few beers and chill out. You know what I mean? And there was times that I used to walk home with my mom because I'm originally from Avenue D. So when I used to walk home, my mom's, there used to be like hookers in between the cars, giving head, all types of crazy shit, man. This park was like legendary, man. Legendary. Like people couldn't walk like this normally through here. You know what I mean? Look at this. It's peaceful now. It's quiet. It still goes down here and there, but it's nothing like before. But it was dead bodies in here. It was crazy. This park was bugged out back in the days, man. And and a lot of things I'm talking about, you could verify this, you know what I'm saying? Anything I talk about, you could Google it. You know what I'm saying? It's not stuff I'm making up. This is just the truth, you know what I mean? And another part of the Lower East Side history is right here, these buildings, right? You can see those buildings right there. I'm gonna walk y'all through real quick. So, right here, this building and that building, right? As you can see, these two buildings are for only deaf people, right? But these buildings never used to be here back in the days. This was like abandoned right here. This was like a lot. And right here was a building, and we used to call it it was an abandoned building, but we used to call it a Mr. Purple building. Right? It was an old man. We used to call him Mr. Purple. He used to live there. He used to own the whole building. He never wanted to sell out. He never wanted to sell it to the city or nothing like that. So it was abandoned. And his backyard was like a maze. You know what I mean? It was like a maze, like it was ill. We used to break in there, play manhunt and all that as kids or whatever. But he was really known, see, if you're really from the Lower East Side, you would know about this. You know? If you're from my era, like the 80s, you would know about this. Mr. Purple was known for carrying a can of paint, a purple can of paint, and he used to paint the bottom of his sneakers and just walk around the whole entire Lower East Side. Or if he had to run errands or whatever, and he'll just stop, put paint on his sneakers and keep walking. So these footprints, these purple footprints, was all over the Lower East Side. And if you used to follow them, it used to lead back all the way to here. Yeah, for real, man. Shouts out to Mr. Purple, man. He passed away, and I think his family or whoever sold the property, and those buildings went up. Actually, if you go to the Indigo Hotel located on Lulu, on the rooftop, there's a bar with a pool, and I believe it's called Mr. Purple Rooftop. They named it after him, or I don't know if his family has anything to do with that. But yeah, right here, guys. Forsyth Park, legendary right here, man. This is ruthless. These buildings wasn't up there, none of that, man. This was just all abandoned buildings, man. Just giving y'all a little bit of history. That's all. You know what I mean? Then we always had the school right here, Satellite. This school right here was like the last option. Like if you're a female, you was pregnant, you wanted to finish school, you could go here. If you had a kid, and you could even bring a kid here, they'll babysit your kid. It was like three different schools in one. You know what I mean? In order for you to graduate. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. So now I'm gonna walk y'all down the street. I'm gonna walk y'all to Eldridge and Stanton. You know what I mean? Just a little history of the Lower East Side, man. I just want to do this properly, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, the Lower East Side, man, was the port for the heroin, for the dope business. You know what I'm saying? All the big-time drug dealers, I'm going to talk about that later on in another video. But all these big-time drug dealers that you know about, that everybody talk about on the internet, which I'll talk about that later on. That's a different story. You know, I'm going to keep going with this. They all used to come to the Lower East Side and get their weed. And get their dope. Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? Because back then, the heroin mostly used to come from the Chinese. They had it. And Chinatown is just right there. You know what I mean? So who's the first people who's going to grab it? Was the people from the Lower East Side. I used to go to school with, you know what I mean? Chinese people in my class and all that. But anyway, right here, this is Eldridge and Stanton right here. You see that? That's Eldridge and Stanton. We used to call this E block and shit like that. You know what I mean? This was, nobody couldn't walk through here either. If you ain't know nobody, or you was a somebody, you had to be a somebody, or you had to know somebody to pass through here. You know what I'm saying? This was crazy, bro. But look at this shit now, bro. You know what I mean? This was like, this was a heroin block right here, man. People made millions of dollars right here, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm from Avenue D. I'm from the other side, but I had family over here, so I used to hang out over here too when I was little and shit. You know what I'm saying? I actually got an ill story on this block. You know, I got a few ill stories on this block, but this store right here, right on the corner, you know what I mean? That was like Dominican owned back in the days or whatever. And when I first started selling coke, And shit, by the way, I'm not in the life of crime anymore. I'm a working man. I'm a father. You know, like I said, this is past tense. This is more than 20 years ago. So one day, I'm standing on this corner right here, right? And like I said, there used to be like 20 of us here, like maybe 30 over there on that corner, you know, just chilling on some, you know what I mean? So I used to sell coke right here. This was when I first started selling, you know, drugs. So there used to be a payphone right here. As you can see, you see the print. That was a payphone. So you know, I'm doing my little thing right here, and you know, everybody's moving and grooving, we chilling. So the phone booth right here was broken. So I had a stash. I used to stash the coke there, and then I had nicks of weed. And whatever car used to be parked right here in this corner, I used to stash it behind the tire. You know what I mean? So we here, we hanging out, boom. And this old timer by the name of may he rest in peace. His name was Periki. They used to call him Periki. Light-skinned white dude, thick glasses. You know, he was part of the Allen Boys, which I'm going to talk about that next. And he comes up and he's like, yo, G, take care of my man. So I'm like, yo, you know them? You know him? He's like, yeah, I was up north with him and all that. I was like, all right, cool. So he goes, yo, what you got? But something told me, don't tell him I got coke. I said, oh, I got weed. So he goes, what? He said, well, what you got? Dimes, nicks? I said, yo, I got dimes and nick. So he's like, yo, let me get $300 worth. You know, I should have found it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about this is like 96. You know what I'm saying? I should have found it. You know, like I was like, you know what, man, fuck it. You know, I'm young. Serve them. Yo, after I served them, 3 minutes later, they rolled up from this side. They just jumped out on us. From everywhere, bro. Every angle, they jumped out on us. So they came straight to me. They locked me up. Yo, they never found the coke, right? But what they did was, I had like maybe $1,000 worth of nicks and dimes. They took the whole block, everybody that was here. So this is the funny part of the story. My man, shouts out to Chuleta, man. If you see this, you already know. So he used to live right here in these little red buildings. So he was just going to the store for his mom's. He had slippers on with a tank top, you know, summertime. They grabbed him up. So they packed us all in the van. There was like at least 25, 30 of us in the van. They all was mad at me like, damn, G, you come all the way from the Ave over here and get everybody locked up. And I said, yo, man, that fucking Periki told me he was up north with the nigga, son. Like, that's why I served the nigga and all that. But yeah, that shit was ill, man. It was a bunch of us went through the system and all that and shit like that. But anyway, that's one of my little stories from this block. There's many, but anyway, I'm gonna walk y'all over here now. So this story I'm about to tell you, this is all in one block radius, so that's why I'm showing y'all. You know what I'm saying? So this story I'm gonna tell y'all right now is real legendary. You feel me? So we walking down Stanton Street right now. You know what I'm saying? As you can see. Boom, boom. So this building right here is legendary, right? This is 189 Allen. There was a crew, a notorious crew that came out of here. Before me, they was called the Allen Boys. Like I said, This is all documented. You can look all this up. You know what I'm saying? These dudes made a lot of money, bro. So, wait, let me get a little closer. I'll give you a little look. Here we go, right here. So, this crew was estimated making, you know, this is why I'm doing this, because, you know, I'm not knocking none of them. Please don't judge me. But everybody's talking about Rich Porter, you know, Fritz, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Much respect and love to them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you something right now. These people was estimated like they was making 25 million a month. I know that sounds crazy, but these niggas, yo, they had limo companies, they own helicopters, they own school bus services throughout the city. You know what I mean? This is the building right here, look. $189 Allen. But the reason why they so infamous is this. If you go on YouTube right now and you look up how the Ninja Turtle movie was made, the process of them making the movie, they were short budget. They ain't had the budget to make the movie, right? They were short $2.5 million. And the Allen boys put up the money for the first Ninja Turtle movie to come out, okay? This is how much money they was making, right? So if you look at that documentary, you will see that they talk about it. They talk about how they had to get money from over here, get loans, and they said they were still short $2.5 million, and they said, we don't want to tell you where that came from. You know what I mean? But it came from here. It came from the Allen boys. And that's how they started getting investigated, because these, at that time, they were 17, 18, 19-year-olds. And, you know, the cops was like, the feds was like, yo, where they come up with this money? Like, what's going on? So they started getting investigated behind that. You know what I mean? And they went down in the summertime of, they all got indicted in the summertime of 1991, okay? The leader, I didn't get permission to say his name, but the leader just came home last year from 1991. You heard? A few of them been coming home. Like one of them came home like 3 years ago. Another one came home like maybe 4 years ago. Like little by little, they coming home now from the early 90s, from 91, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yo, this is G. Tony Starks, man. I just wanted to share a little bit of history. I will be giving you way more history. I'm go all over the place, all over the Lower East Side, man. You feel me? Yo, much love to everybody, man. And catch me on the next one. 100.